everyone, welcome back to Yoga Magnificat with Mathia. I'm so glad you can join me and that I've had some great feedback on these videos. So if you do like this class or any of the other classes on my channel, please do hit subscribe and like the video so I know what to make next and what other kinds of videos are popular. So today's class is a beginner-friendly Hatha Yoga class that will involve a little bit of strength, stretching, and balance. So what you need for this class is a yoga mat, maybe a block, and maybe a strap. So go ahead and grab those items and I'll meet you here on the mat. So once you're ready, come onto the mat facing the short edge and maybe move back towards the center of your mat. We're coming to child's pose, so open your knees to the edges of your mat and bring your big toes to touch. Push your hands into the floor and let your hips sink back towards your heels. From here, lengthen through the crown of your head and walk your hands forward, really lengthening out your upper body and then sending it down to the earth. Now, if your head cannot reach the floor, feel free to use a block or a pillow or anything you have handy at home and place it right underneath your forehead. You can even donut fist your hands and stack them underneath your forehead. So once you've found your comfortable child's pose, allow yourself to sink in and relax your muscles. Feel the connection of your body towards the earth. So whether it be the place of your hands beneath the arms, your armpits, the forehead, let everything sink down and release any grip that you're holding in your body. As you breathe, begin to fill up like a balloon, feeling your belly pushing out against the inner thighs. As you exhale, think about letting go any of that unconscious grip. It could be physical, it could even be mental or emotional stress that you're feeling right now. See if you can allow that exhale to become a physical sigh for your entire body, mind, and soul. And just continue taking some long, deep breaths, slowing it down, and letting your mind slowly come into focus upon what we're doing right now. Let other concerns or worries fall to the side and just feel present with yourself, your mat, and your breath. Notice if you're holding tension in any specific area. Sometimes those are our habitual areas of tension. Once you've noticed them, make a quick conscious effort just to relax that area and let it go. No need to dwell on it. We'll take one more deep inhale, followed by complete empty. And then begin to lift the head off the ground, walk your arms in slowly, and then bring your knees about hip distance in. Walk your hands further out. We're going to come into a sort of a child's pose flow into cobra. So with your hands, swing your shoulders over your palms and then drop your hips, untuck your toes, and begin to look forward. Now push down into the floor with your hands and draw your shoulders back from your ears. Let your pelvis drop. Let the tops of your thighs become heavy. As you exhale, look down towards your belly button. Push even stronger into your hands and lift your hips off and back, just like we are coming back to child's pose with the knees hip distance apart. Sink back as far as you can go. If you can touch the head, go ahead. If not, just let it hang for a moment. And as we inhale, press into the floor, swing your body slowly forward, and then drop the hips again, coming into this high cobra. Take a deep breath in, push a little into your hands, and exhale, drop your chin, push into your hands more and shift the hips back to child's pose. Let's continue to flow with the breath. Inhale, coming forward. Exhale, drop the hips. Smile your collarbones open. Inhale, drop it back. Take it slow. Exhaling as the hips drop. Inhale, come forward. Exhale, drop the hips. Shoulders back, look forward. Exhale, drop it back, hips to heels. Inhale, come forward. Exhale, drop the hips to cobra. Good, and then slowly come back just to a tabletop position. Tuck your toes, walk your hands back. We're going to make our way to a standing position. So just one foot in front of the other. Carefully make your way until you can stand tall and come to the top of your mat. We're going to start with a little warm-up. Mountain pose starts with feet about hip distance apart, facing forward, hands, palms turned to the front. Inhale, reach the arms up. Join the palms at the top. Exhale, carve a line down the center of your body and come to your first forward bend. Now for forward bend, your knees can be bent. You can place a block underneath your hands at the center of the mat if you wish, or you can cup your calves with your hands and just pull yourself in a little deeper. Take another inhale, another exhale. Inhale, hands come onto your shins or your thighs and press the crown of your head long. Exhale, bend your knees. Inhale, come up. Exhale one more time, carve the hands forward to your forward bend. Inhale for your halfway lift. Now from here, bend your knees, place your hand on your block, and let's place it on the right side. So your left hand comes to the ground. Let's bend the knees generously and step the left foot back, coming into low lunge. Now let's take that left knee to the floor. And as we lower that to the ground, make sure your right knee's on top of that ankle and your hip, the left hip, is forward enough that it's not sitting on top of that left knee. So you want to be forward enough and increase the angle between your knee and your back knee. All right, so from here, bring the arms up towards the sky and sink your hips forward. Now, if you find this is tricky for your balance, keep your hands on your right thigh. And then continue allowing yourself to sink into that lovely left side hip flexor stretch. Take another inhale and exhale. Now if your arms are up to the sky, you're going to open the elbows out to the sides for an inhale. And an exhale. Bring the hands down to frame your right leg. Now you might have one hand on the block, one hand on the floor. Now for this one, let's place the block on the left side. And we'll straighten the right leg by pushing the hip back. So the right leg becomes a little bit more straight. You notice I have a pretty big bend in my knee. It's because my hamstrings are really tight. So if you're like me, feel free to keep this bend. If you feel like you can handle a little bit more, sink your hips back just a touch. Okay, so you can always decide how far back you want to go. And notice my hips are not all the way down sitting on my heel. They can be up a little higher, and I can prop myself up using my hands on a block or framing the foot with my hands on the floor. This is called half splits, a really nice hip flexor stretch. If you can't see, my right foot is up from the floor. The toes are facing the sky. Take another inhale, and then exhale, let your head drop down towards the floor. It's going to increase that stretch a little bit more in the back of your right thigh. As you inhale, come forward. From here, we're going to release. Now see if you can put your hands to frame the foot. Bring your back knee up, and we're going to see if we can step the left foot forward. And then from here, step the right foot back and start over on the other side. So just like we did on the other side, we drop the right knee. And we're going to start with that block on the right side this time. So you can come up onto your left thigh, drop your hips a little bit, or you can bring both hands to the ceiling and sink forward just a little bit more. So really nice stretch for those inner thigh muscles, hip flexors, the groin. Take a big breath in. And if you have your arms up to the ceiling, open your arms up to the sky and open them out to the sides for cactus arms. Some take deep breaths here. Inhale, reach the arms up and bring them to the floor or one hand on your block. Let's straighten that front leg for half splits. So you're going to peel the left toes off the ground and walk your hands to frame around the area of your knee. So bring your hands closer in. That'll give you a little more support. As you inhale, get long to the crown of your head. Try not to round immediately, and then see if there's a little more room for you to sit those hips back a little bit. Exhale, lower down, take a bow. Breathing in, breathing out. Get a nice stretch for that low back and hamstring area. And then slowly walk your hands and your block forward. Come back to your low knee lunge. All right. So from here, we're going to slip that left foot back into tabletop position. And you can take your block off to the side and put both hands on the ground. Now we're going to come into a gateway posture. So I'm going to show you on the left side first because I think you can see me better that way. So take your left leg and you're going to bring it off the long edge of your mat. And you see how I'm planting my heel and my foot down, my toes are facing forward. My leg is straight, I'm pushing off with the edge of my foot. So from here, let's walk up nice and tall. You might want to pad your right knee for this one. And then as you're sitting tall on your knees here, push out against that left foot. Take your right hand up and over, take a side bend towards the extended leg. Now your left hand can rest on your thigh or below the knee, just never on your knee joint. So find somewhere that allows you to open, look up at your bicep, at the sky, for gateway posture. Really nice side bend here. Nice open stretch. Now as we exhale, let's plant that hand onto the floor. As we plant the right hand on the floor, look down and make sure that your shoulder is on top of your hand. Now once you have that set in place, you can push off with your left foot, lift it off the ground and come into a side plank modified version. You can place your left hand on your hip, roll your left shoulder slightly open, so you feel that stacking of left shoulder on top of right. Keep the strength in your left thigh, the side of your thigh, the abductor, as well as your glute. So your bottom muscles are helping here too. And if you want, you can take your left hand and reach it up towards the ceiling. Use your core muscles, draw your navel towards the spine. Good, drop that left foot and see if you can gently just push off with your right hand so you can come back up into our upright gateway posture. So from here, keep your formation where your legs are already. Walk your hands down into tabletop and then with your right toes on the floor, sink back, drop your hands coming into an extended child's pose. So if you'd like, you can untuck your back toe and come down into more of a passive variation. Just do whatever feels better for you. Let your inner thigh on the left side relax towards the earth. Really extend that leg so you get this really lovely stretch. And then let your upper body just fall forward. Slowly lift yourself back up, walking the hands towards you. Come back to tabletop with the knees together. This time we'll start with gateway on the other side. So find your right leg and bring it off to the side of your mat. Again, toes facing forward, heel behind the toes. Walk yourself up high on your left knee. And when you're ready, take your left hand off to the side and bring it over to the right while sliding that right hand down the extended leg. Now, make sure that your left shoulder is not reaching forward and your spine is curling towards the floor. Try to keep it long And then maybe look up towards the ceiling to keep that length and that line open. Take another big breath and notice those rib cage muscles opening and expanding. And now we'll make our way over to our modified side plank. So the left hand comes down onto the floor beneath the left shoulder. Look over to your right toes, pop them off the ground, right hand on your hip, then open your right shoulder back. So notice if you're holding this position and you're curling towards the floor, try to keep the shoulder up and stacked, vertical, one on top of the other. Make sure that you're kicking off with your right heel and the side of your foot, engaging your abductor muscles and your right glute. When you're ready, bring your right hand up to the sky, knit your core muscles together, be really strong here. Find your breath and try not to panic. Of course, you know that in my classes, if there's any pose that you find a little challenging or anxiety producing, because you might not feel ready for it, you can always put that right foot down and hang out right there with more points of contact. Okay, so you do what you feel is appropriate. Let's come all the way back up. So put your right foot down, pop yourself back to gateway, and then walk your hands down in front of you, coming into that extended child's pose. So begin to bring your hips back with your back foot tucked or untucked. Hands walk forward and the head lowers. Keep that right leg extended and pushing gently off to the edge of that right foot. Continue with some long, deep breaths. Notice some light warmth building in your body. That focus may be becoming more and more cemented as our practice goes on. And slowly lift your head, walk your hands back towards you so you can come back onto all fours and bring that knee in. So let's walk up towards the center top of your mat, coming back to downward facing dog. So we're going to jump right into our first down dog of the day. Let's tuck those toes and now walk your hands maybe a foot or half a foot in front of you, still keeping a shoulder's distance apart and really spreading your fingertips wide like a starfish. And then imagine that you're holding a watermelon between both of your elbow points. So it's like you're squeezing a watermelon to hold it there. That'll keep your shoulders locked into your joints rather than bowing them out. Okay, so once you have that imaginary watermelon between your elbows, tuck your toes, lift your hips up, your knees off and your hips up. Look back at your big toes and really push into your hands. Don't underestimate the amount of power you need in your hands, as well as the same amount of power in your heels. So much so that the two kind of balance each other out. So if you push too much on your hands, but you're still high up on your toes, your bum goes really high, but you have no length in the back of your legs. So if you push down on your heels at the same amount and force as your hands, and you feel this nice sort of floating equal force in both hand and foot. Hope that makes sense. And of course, sometimes I just talk to get you distracted from maybe trying to quit early from a pose. But of course, by all means, put your knees down whenever you need to. All right, let's bend our knees. Look forward to your thumbs and take as many baby steps as you need to get to the top of the mat. Take a forward fold. Let it all hang out. Inhale for your halfway lifts. Hand on shins or thighs. Get long through the spine. Bend your knees. Come all the way up. Hands to heart. We are going to explore a few more sun salutations from here. So we start in mountain pose with the hands by your sides. Inhale to lift. Exhale, draw a line down the center of the body. Forward fold. Inhale for your halfway lift. Exhale, bend your knees. Walk one foot back and then the next, coming to your plank pose. So if you are wanting to stay here, you can. If this is too much, put your knees down, but don't shift your hips back. Try to keep them fairly low. And notice my belly's not sinking down. It is pulled up and slightly back so they're contracted. Now from here, if you don't have your knees down, put them down at this moment. Then lower your belly, bend your elbows towards your ribs, and lower your chest down, untucking the feet. From here, let's make a baby cobra. Inhale, come up, squeeze your shoulder blades down your back. Try not to let them hike up to your ears. Use and feel the strength of your back muscles. Deep breath in, deep breath out. Exhale, lower, tuck your feet. Press into your hands, keep your elbows locked close to your ribs. As you push your way back through, find your way to downward facing dog. Feel free to walk your feet in or out depending on what stance you like. Push into your hands nice and active. Push into your heels the same amount. Make sure you're looking at your toes. You're not trying to look at your thumbs or your mat. Bend your knees. Walk it forward until your feet are kind of in between your hands. And then forward bend. So fold over. Let your upper body fall towards a block, the mat, or supporting the back of your calves. Inhale, halfway lift. Bend your knees. Push strong to a straight position, mountain pose. Let's do that one more time. Inhale to lift. Exhale, forward fold. Inhale for your halfway lift. Exhale, bend those knees. Step one foot back at a time, then the other for your plank. So again, squeeze your glutes, squeeze your thighs, and then press into your hands. If you need to come onto your knees, please do. Now all of us are going to bring the knees down first, belly then chest as your elbows bend back. Inhale, come up for your baby cobra. Try not to press into those hands too much. Use your back strength. Breathing in, breathing out. One more inhale. One more exhale. Slowly release, tuck the toes, press your way back up. Gradually making your way back to that downward facing dog. Some of you might find these sun salutations quite enough, and if you're finding yourself short on time, just do a bunch of these for the morning for 5 to 10 minutes and you'll find yourself quite limbered up and ready for your day. Let's bend those knees and walk it forward. Forward bend. Let everything fall forward. Not literally, of course, but you want your upper body to be soft. Inhale, halfway lift. Bend your knees, come all the way up, and bring your hands to heart. All right, from here, let's start with the block and place it on the left side, top side of your mat. We're going to start with our first standing flow, and we're going to need our block as we're going to explore Warrior One and Pyramid Posture. So we're going to start Tadasana at the top of the mat, and feet are about hip distance apart. Stare at somewhere in front of you for balance. Maybe place the hands in front of your heart. Carefully now, bending your knees, begin to walk your left foot back in space until you can come into kind of a slight lunge position. Turn your back toes slightly out. And then, here's the difference. Pay attention. Keep your chest, shoulders, and hips facing forward. A good way to test this is if you look down, your right knee is bent like it is in a lunge, bent on top of that ankle. Your back foot is turned out slightly 30 to 45 degrees, and you're pushing strong through the side edge of that foot, and this left leg should be straight, no bend or collapsing in it. Now, when you're in your Warrior One position, make sure your chest and your thumbs are lined up and your shoulders are lined up with your hips. Bring the hands out in front of you so that they are parallel. And if you find that one hand is further out than the other, bring it back to even them out. Now, once you have your shoulders even, bring the arms up to the sky. Take a nice strong stance forward, looking off into the distance in front. Take a deep breath in and a deep breath out. Inhale. Exhale, squeezing those inner thighs together. Find a little strength and endurance. And then from here, drop the hands and hinge forward over the right thigh. Notice how I'm trying to keep my body fairly in line with my back foot. This diagonal line is nice and strong. And to do that, I have to really press through, kick back with my left edge of foot. Spread those fingertips, bring the hands by your sides, kind of like an airplane. Bring your core up towards your spine, be nice and strong through the right thigh. You're going to feel a little bit of muscle exertion, a little bit of burn in your legs. That's to be expected. Inhale, come back up. Let's do that again twice more. Exhale, come forward. Inhale, come up. Exhale, come forward. Inhale, come up. Now we're going to transition into an active stretch called pyramid. Let's straighten the front leg. You're still facing forward. So those hands do that test where you're reaching forward. And then bring your hands back. Bring your body forward and slide your right hand down your right thigh. Now, from here, some of you may find this kind of good enough, being high up and stretching the back of your right hamstring. Some of you may want to grab your block on that left side, place it in line with your right foot, and then place your hand down there. Now keep pressing your left foot back, right hip back, crown of your head long. Some of you may find this is just enough. Those of you who want to keep going, slide your right hand down your leg a little more, bend your left elbow, bring your body down. Now I'm rounding through my spine. Those of you who are very open can change the height of your block or do away with it, placing both hands on the floor. For me, I feel as though my right hamstring is not quite right. You see quite a big bend in it, so I want to prop myself up just a little bit more and keep my right hand on my shin and then find a little bit more straightness in that right leg. So you go ahead and modify and make sure that your alignment is in line or cue with your body's ability. So we never want to go too far where we're trying to do the pose, but we're no longer doing the pose because we're trying so hard to get there. So see if you can honor what your body can accomplish today. Yes, I know I'm talking. We're still holding pyramid pose. We're going to let those muscles in the left calf, right hamstring, and the back soften and lengthen. And then put a bend in that right knee so you have some power. And then walk yourself up. Turn your back toes forward so you're in a regular lunge. You might need some balance focus here. Now we're going to take the hands down and frame that right foot. Put your hand on the block and put it towards the left edge of your mat. Put your hand down, sweep the right hand and your chest to the right, stacking both shoulders. Now if you don't feel secure with your hand on that block, I want to make sure that you don't fall off of it. Make sure you put it down to a height that's comfortable and stable. Squeeze those inner thighs. Push back through your left heel. If this is difficult, you can always put your left knee down into a knee lunge variation. Okay, so do what feels good. All right, let's bring that right hand down. We're going to step it up and take it to the other side. So lift your back knee up, walk it in, bend your knees, straighten up to your mountain pose. Bring the hands to heart and feel free to grab a drink of water at any time, hitting pause when you feel it's appropriate. If you want to keep going, let's bring that block over to the right top edge of your mat, standing hip width apart in mountain pose. We'll begin again. Inhale to lift. Exhale, hands to the heart, staring off, finding a place to stare at. We're going to step it back into a lunge. Walk as many steps as you need into a little lunge and then turn your right toe off to the side 30 or 45 degrees and really plant it straight. Keep your left knee bent on top of that ankle. So if you want more challenge, you're going to open the distance of your feet, the length even more by sneaking one foot further away and making this left leg even more parallel to the ground. Now that's only if you want to really make yourself sweat. Now, for warrior one, we want the chest, shoulders, and hips to face forward. So bring your hands to your heart, push back through your right foot so you feel that right hip open out, and then bring the hands out in front. Draw your core in, everything's nice and strong. And once you find that your hands are parallel with each other, lift the arms up to the sky. Deep breath in, deep breath out. Squeeze those glutes, challenge those quads, And then from here, we'll take our airplane warrior. So begin to tip forward, draw the arms back. Try to come into kind of a diagonal with your right foot, right leg. Holding it here for a couple of breaths. Really firing up those muscles. See if you can really draw your left hip in towards your right inner thigh and not let everything splay out to the left side of your mat. Inhale, come up, using your core, using your legs. Exhale, flow forward, airplane. Inhale, come up. And exhale, forward. Last time, come up, keep a bend in that front leg if you please. And then from here, drop the hands, straighten your front leg. From here, let's drop the left hand, draw it down your left thigh. Keep your front leg as straight as you can while pushing your left hip back, right hip slightly forward. Now, if you wish to go down further, use your block to help you. Right hand is down onto that block. Left hand supports you on the left shin. Now, if you feel like you have the space, you can change the height of your block. You can do away with it by framing your foot with your hands. And then finally, allowing yourself to come down into more of a folded position. So I can already tell that my left side is more flexible than my right. So maybe after this filming, I will go back and stretch out my right leg a little bit more. And if you notice discrepancies for yourself, that's something you might want to consider doing once this video has finished, just to give that tighter side a little bit more TLC and more balance in your body. Let's take one more big inhale. Last big exhale. Bend your front knee. You can use the block for your assistance. Coming back up, powering through the left thigh. Inhale to lift. Turn your back toe forward. This is probably a pretty challenging thing for some beginners, is to change positions while using your balance. So now we're in a lunge position. Drop your hands, put your right hand on the block if that helps you, and take your other hand down to the floor. If you have two blocks, that's also really quite nice. Now, bring your block down to either the next level or the lowest. Put your right palm down so it's nicely weighted. Now, left knee should still be very bent. Right leg pushing back in space. Left hand opens up, turns the chest, and stacks the arms. Coming into a low lunge twist. And again, modify if you wish by placing the right knee down onto the floor and continue opening up through the chest. If you have your knee off the ground, please try to squeeze those inner thighs together. Keep those legs as active as possible. If you've done this a lot and you feel like this is easy peasy, there's always ways to make a pose more challenging. So if you listen carefully to some of my cues and try them all, you'll notice that they could definitely be more difficult over time. So let's take the left hand down. We're going to walk the right foot in, come into a forward bend, into ragdoll this time. So the arms will grab opposite elbows. Bend your knees a little soft. Let your head, shoulders, and spine drop down towards the floor. It's almost like you feel the head is like a dead weight, and it's allowing your body to drop forward with that lovely stretch and traction. And if you feel your back body a little more open now, you can try straightening your legs a touch more. Take a deep breath in and a deep breath out. Feel free to kind of just rock back and forth. Looks kind of like you're jiggling up and down. And then pause. Allow your arms to drift over to the right. Drift over to the left. And then over again. So rocking this time from side to side. Keeping your breath fluid. And then come back to center, release your arms, place your hands slowly onto your thighs into our halfway lift. Let the blood drain out for a moment. Breathing in, breathing out. Slowly bend your knees, look forward, and peel yourself up. Inhaling and exhaling, bring the hands down to your heart. Let's take the hands behind the body, clasp the fingers, and press those fists down, open through your shoulders, look forward. Broaden through the collarbones. As you breathe in, feel that expansion across your ribs, everything surrounding the heart. Let it grow bigger, more bright, more free. Especially as we feel so confined these days, yoga can really help us find ways to feel more liberated, even if it's just physically in our bodies, or to unwind thoughts that keep circulating in our minds. Let's release the hands. We'll take a side bend. So I'm going to face forward just to show you. Take one hand, the right hand onto your thigh, left hand up and over, and again, directly to the right. Look up to the ceiling. Plant your feet. Deep breath opens through the left long side of your body. A couple more like this. Use your right hand to really brace yourself if you're feeling kind of like you need more support in this, and enjoy the stretch more passively. Slowly bring your left hand down. As you come up, right hand lifts over to the left. Left hand slides down to brace the leg. As you open up, look to the sky. Plant the feet, make sure they're nice and strong. Slowly release. Let's take a little back bend from here. So standing, you want your feet about hip distance apart. Start by placing your hands on the top of your sacrum. So go ahead and place your palms, the heel of your palms, kind of on the top portion of that flat bone. It's above your tailbone, it's not that low, it's a little bit higher up. You're going to push your hands gently into your sacrum and then push your hips forward as you gently draw your upper body back in space. Now you've really got to squeeze your thighs and your butt here. I want your legs really strong. Now, you might want to go down a little more. So drop your left hand down to the back of your left thigh, right hand to the back of your thigh, and continue opening through the chest, bending slightly backwards. Now you see why you need to have strength in your legs for this. Keep breathing, keep being strong in those legs. You can decide how far down you want to get into this back bend. Even if it's just a tiny little movement back, okay? Back bends can be a little scary for people. So if you're not used to them, start them really shallow. And then over time, grow your confidence and try it a little bit deeper, a little bit more. Start by dropping your chin towards your chest. Walk your hands up your legs, back towards your sacrum, squeezing the legs until you come slowly back up. All right, let's take a little twist. Arms in front, peel your right arm back. Face the right side, keep your legs facing forward if you can. Big breath in, big reach forward and back. Right hand comes forward, left hand reaches back. Chest facing forward. Now try to spin your lower body forward a little more. Reach forward and back. Nice big hug for the side of the room. Breathing in, and maybe give yourself a smile, because you know that no one can see you, right? So feel free to look as silly as you like. It's kind of liberating. Let's bring that left hand forward. Drop the hands down through the center line of the body. Take a fold. Exhale, let it all go. And then lift your head, drop your knees down, and we'll take a seat. I'm going to face forward so you can see what I'm talking about, but you don't have to move. Let's take the right foot forward. Take the left leg in and lay the knee out to the side. With or without a strap, you can do this pose. With the strap, you're going to place it underneath your right foot. Get nice and long, and exhale. Just gather yourself forward in a nice length through the spine. Try not to round first. Now, if you're not using a strap, just hold on to your leg to pull your body forward and sit your right hip bones back. And then exhale, allow yourself to fold forward. Take it slow and notice what your body wants to do. If you find that your knee starts to bend a lot because your hamstrings are tight like mine, be sure to back up a little bit. Come up and try not to squash yourself into an angle that just isn't happy for you. Okay, so take your time. Find your breath. Allow that softness to come to you. And then feel free to round, drop the head, shoulders. Become a little more passive. Slowly come on up. I'm going to bend that knee. Now here's a little change. Some of you may find this a fairly difficult variation, and so I'm going to show you some different ways we can do it. It's called fire log pose, and it's really great for your outer hips. So what I might suggest is if you have a block, or better yet, a small pillow, you're going to hold it on your right side. Okay, so your right leg is going to swing on top of that left knee. Some of you might be like, huh, and end up kind of here or here. And if this is you where you can't quite get this knee to come down a little bit in space, then I'm going to show you a different option. Okay, so first, if you are able to come into fire log with your left ankle and knee stacked and your right knee on top of your left foot, and you have a little bit of space, you can place, your little bolster, little pillow right in here to become more comfortable. If you cannot get here at all and you're like, no way, Mathia, am I able to do that? No worries. Just place your right foot in front like you're just crossing your legs. So sit cross-legged, basically. So either you're in fire log or in cross-legged position. We're going to reach up nice and tall and bring ourselves forward. Put your hands down, maybe closer to your body, because if you have yourself in fire log, this is pretty intense already. Okay, or you can use an extra block to put your hands up a little bit higher. Take a deep breath in, deep breath out. Let yourself fold forward towards the earth. Feel any tension in your body. Allow yourself to enjoy that sweet sensation, that little bit of discomfort that is also pleasurable to be felt and experienced, rather than running away from it. Slowly walk yourself back up. Uncross your right leg. And this time, take your left leg out in front and straighten it. We're going to flip that right knee down and put the sole of the foot into the left inner thigh. Inhale to reach up. With or without a strap, you're going to bring yourself forward towards the left foot. If you have a strap, you're going to use the strap to bring you forward. Without one, hands are on the shins. Pull yourself forward. Again, long through the spine. Relax through the right hip. And exhale, lower yourself down, rounding, relaxing, breathing, and letting go. Slowly make your way back up. From here, bend your left knee, and you might want to slide your bottom leg further to the left. And then from here, stack your left ankle on top of the right and take your top knee on top of the bottom foot. Into fire log, flex your feet. Now again, if this doesn't work for you, instead of stacking that leg on top of that right knee, you're going to keep that left leg on the floor and come into a cross-legged position of your choice. So whichever one you chose, lift up through the arms and exhale, send the hands down, walk it forward. Inhale, press to the ground a little bit more, extend through your spine. Again, use a block if you have to underneath your hands, no problem in doing that. Relax your left side, left hip. Slowly walk yourself back up. Release the legs. Give them a little shake. And then bring the feet bent and come to a lying back position. So let's come into one last goodbye squeeze with the knees into the chest. Rock from side to side if you like and massage that low back into the ground. And then from here, just pause with the knees tucked in. Exhale, let those heels land. Find your Savasana either here or with the legs extended long. Maybe the hands come down by your sides with the palms facing up. I'll invite you to close your eyes. Find your breath as you breathe in deeply, slowly. Pause at the top before letting the air seep back out. Pausing at the bottom before inhaling again.